Hey, what's up everyone? I decided to provide an overview of RPG mags with EU compatible content. This is the best way to give a brief overview. I will do videos on every scenario eventually, starting with Adventures Unlimited. It's the only issue of the run with Star Wars compatible content. Next to it is a wonderful French magazine, Backstab, with a number of issues with EU compatible content. Of course, Valkyrie, not too difficult to track down, except for the first issue, which tends to give people trouble. Sir Roger, Spanish magazine, about 3 issues of that with EU compatible content. Going to France here, we've got a huge stack of Casus Belli, tons of EU compatible content. Next to it, about a half a dozen of Descartes Les Suppléments, which is sort of related to one over here that I'll talk about in a second. Dragon magazine, which sort of blends in with Dungeon magazine. Inquest, ton of Inquest magazines with EU compatible content. Here are the Holy Grail, Game Trade magazine number 10, the Nova Crystal. This is the full run of Chronicles from an Outer Space. There's about 2 or 3 issues here with EU compatible content. This is one related to Descartes Les Suppléments, Descartes Plus. There's about, I don't know, 4 or 5 magazines here with EU compatible content. Avalon, this is something of a grail. These are the only 2 issues from Avalon that have EU compatible content. Another French magazine, very difficult to track down. Polyhedron, got a nice little stack here. This is not the full stack, they're in some other box, but Polyhedron, RPGA, tons of EU compatible RPG content. And here I've broken this out because these are the 2 issues of Polyhedron UK, not discussed enough, from 1999. There's several different Polyhedrons. There's one from Australia, a limited run, and there's this limited run from the UK. This is issues number 3 and 4 that actually contain parts 1 and 2 of A Simple Pickup, which is an old RPGA scenario that you would have only been able to play at like a Gen Con or something. Here we go, Space Gamer. A couple of issues of Space Gamer. I think there's only about 3 that have EU compatible content. Now, this is one that I don't think has content in it, but I just wanted to have it here to represent the issue that does. I get confused. I think there's 1 or 2 that do. There's definitely stuff in here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the one that does. But there's a couple of very notable issues of this magazine with really cool Star Wars covers. So I get confused. I think this might be the one though that has the content in it. Shadis magazine. There's a nice little stack there. I forget exactly how many have EU content. Dragon Radu, this is a very sad story for me. There's about 3 issues of this magazine from France that have EU compatible content, and I used to have them all, but at least in good shape. But in the flood in 2019, they took a direct hit, and so they are in a very, very, very poor state, not worthy of being alongside the rest of the collection. Concepts magazine, one that I've highlighted in a previous video. Love the cover there. Another wonderful magazine, huge stack. Leader, Spanish magazine. A massive run of Challenge magazine. Not all of these have EU compatible content, but quite a few do. I've made a very tiny video about these in the past. Masters of Role-Playing, really wonderful. There's a couple of cool things here. There is a EU character that appears here for the first time that appears later in the expanding universe. It also has a really wonderful article about all the lightsaber forms, which is really cool. Wizard magazine, I've done a video about this. There's 2 different versions of this with 2 different covers. Star Wars Collector magazine, and I think somewhere here, oh yeah, that's right. And Star Wars Galaxy, both of which have just original content. I think when you're talking about magazines, why not throw these in? These, by the way, they're all of these are open, but they're all in their original poly bags. Vortex magazine, I think there's about 2 or 3 with EU compatible content. Grail magazine, another wonderful French magazine. Troll magazine, the only one of its run with EU compatible content. Infobia, Role Player Independent, Games Master, Gamesman, that was a bit of a grail for a while. And Voyages SF, something I've done a video on in the past. Now, what's missing here are still a number of magazines that are somewhere in the collection. Everything from technical guides to magazines with more substantive scenarios. Trying to think of some of the ones I'm missing off the top of my head. Maelstrom and a fanzine, Morningstar Rising. Oh yeah, somewhere over here is, you know what, let me just go highlight this real quick. I don't want to forget about this. I've done a video about this. This is a promo flyer I have for Morningstar Rising. And of course, North Coast Role Playing. fanzine. About 2 or 3 of these have EU compatible content. Is there anything else over here? I'm getting all mixed up. No. People forget about this official toy magazine. I've done a video about this. Just going through all my old stuff. Okay, well, anyway, just an overview. Just wanted to give an overview, and this is some kids' toys. I'm in the basement. But this is sort of what it looks like. Not the full set, but a pretty good slice of it. And one of these years, we will go through the entire collection.